Slate on the Scarlowy Railway comes from a quarry high in the hills of Sodor. Engines would shun empty cars to the incline. They would then be attached to a cable, and so would the loaded ones. Then the loaded cars would roll down the steep slope, pulling the empty ones up by their weight. The engines don't mind the busy work at the quarry, but Duncan does mind. He hates this job and feels very overworked. One day, as Duncan was taking a train of loaded sleigh cars to the wharf, he stopped at the station where Reneus was there. "What's wrong, Duncan?" asked Reneus. "I don't like looking in the quarry," huffed Duncan. "Can you do it instead, Reneus?" "I can't. I have a busy day today," replied Reneus. "He's right, Duncan," said his driver. "And besides, we need to pick up another load." "What?" Duncan cried. "Don't worry. It's our last stop for the day, and we can go home after that," said the driver. Duncan was still cross about more work at the quarry, but he was glad that there was one more left. He immediately went home after he left his freight cars at the wharf. The next morning, Mr. Percival arrived on board Arthur. "Duke, Peter, Sam, and Bertram, I want you to help Duncan at the quarry and get some slate for the wharf," he said. Before Duncan could say anything else, Mr. Percival climbed aboard Arthur, and Arthur puffed away. "Cheer up, Duncan," said Peter Sam. "At least you don't have to do it alone." "I still don't like the job, and getting help won't make any difference," said Duncan. "Whatever it is," said Duke, "we must work carefully. We can't have any accidents." The four engines set off. Once they got there, Duncan bumped the freight cars furiously. The freight cars didn't like Duncan's attitude and wanted to teach him a lesson. "Be careful, Duncan," said Bertram. "Those freight cars might pay you back. I heard them grumbling." "Bertram is right," said Duke. "You're being far too careless." "Rubbish," huffed Duncan. "I want to get this job done." Duncan gathered his freight cars together, and they were on their way to the wharf. The freight cars began to carry on their plan when they got closer to Reneus Station. As the station became nearer, the driver applied the brakes, but they didn't stop. The freight cars kept pushing Duncan on and on through the station, and he was heading for trouble. "Oh, help!" Duncan cried as he rounded the bend and derailed. Once Duncan was rescued and was taken to the works, Mr. Percival was waiting for him. "Your disobedience has caused a great deal of trouble," he said. "Once you are repaired, you will stay in your shed for 2 weeks, and after that 2 weeks, you will work at the quarry with Duke until you learn not to be so impatient and reckless." And after hearing Mr. Percival's stern words, I hope Duncan will be patient from now on. Don't you?